Good afternoon. This is another Aftershock Devotional for Friday, August 23rd. A couple of quick announcements. Number one, we have our Kings Island trip is coming up the 1st, which is a week from this Sunday. And we're looking forward to that. Make sure you sign up if you haven't signed up already. Make sure you do that. And only sign up if you know that you can go. So that way we have 15 that we know we can plan on. I had something, I got to be honest with you, I had something totally different planned for the devotional this morning when I was coming in. It was something that God had given me my devotions this morning. But honestly, I stopped and picked up some sodas for Aftershock, and as I was picking up the sodas, I came back out of Payless, and there's those benches down here on Greenbush. There's those benches that are right around the Payless for the bus stop, and there's a lady sitting there, and she was, I mean, she looked older. Now I'm not so sure, but she looked older. Her hair was falling out. She was shaking real bad. And so I thought, man, there's got to be something up. And so I walked over, just a few feet away. I walked over to her and said, are you okay? And she said, as soon as she saw me coming, it was almost in the same breath that I said, are you okay? And she said, do you have any money for a bus ticket? Well, around here, I mean, in D.C., where I grew up, there was people ask you for that stuff all the time. You'd be walking down D.C. and, businessmen were asking you for money. But here, I haven't gotten it yet. So it kind of startled me, and I said, I'm sorry, what? And she said, do you have any money for the bus ride? As I got closer to this lady, who I then asked her what her name was, her name was Sarah. As I got closer to this lady, her hair was falling out. She had these skin lesions and boils, I guess you'd say, all over. She had needle holes all over her arms, pricks on both of her arms into her veins and in her neck. And as I got close to her, I mean, this overwhelming thought hit me. This woman is a meth addict. I mean, it was so obvious. The hair, she was obviously on the downslope of a high. She was shaking. She was hallucinating. And as I'm walking close to her, I mean, it just was this weird feeling of like, man, this lady is on meth right now, and she's an addict to meth. And so as I got closer to her, I mean, normally I wouldn't say this to somebody, but she asked me for money again. She said, can I have money for the bus? And I said, after I'd already asked her name and things, I said, so, Sarah, are you sure you want money for the bus? And she said, yes, of course. And I'm not going to do it justice, but she's shaking as she's saying this, and she's looking around and just real antsy, and it was kind of really creepy. And so I said, Sarah, are you sure, even if this is money for the bus, are you sure you're not going to take this and take the bus to where you're buying your meth from? And of course, she just kind of looked around and said, no, of course not. Well, I said, Sarah, I would not be able to give you money knowing that. I said, it's not like I'm trying to judge you. I said, obviously, Sarah, there's stuff about you, the needle holes and all those things that she then tried to cover up with her hand. All these things about you I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you that obviously is telling me that you are addicted to meth. And I cannot give you money, even knowing that it is for the bus, if you would take the bus to then buy more meth that's going to harm you. I said, Sarah, you are obviously on the downslope of a high here because you're freaking out. You're wigging me out. And I said, and I just can't. I can't give you money for that. I said, but I will call you an ambulance because you look like you're really struggling. She said, no. She was not looking. At this point, keep in mind, she has never once looked into her purse. She looks at me and goes, oh, I found enough money for the bus. And I said, Sarah, you weren't even looking in your purse. She's like, oh, I know I have enough money for the bus. And so I said, Sarah, I would love to call an ambulance for you. So I'm not going to force you, but I would love to call an ambulance for you because I think that you're struggling. And she said, no, the bus is coming. I'll be fine. And so I walked away from her and just went towards my car, thinking, man, should I call the ambulance? Should I call somebody? And just as I was doing that, the bus pulled up and she got on the bus. And so it's a weird story. I mean, it was not something I expected. I was just going to buy soda from Payless, but something hit me. Honestly, this verse, as soon as I walked away from that, just hit me because I never experienced anything like that. I've experienced people on highs as far as with weed and pot and all that stuff, but never with something as crazy as meth. And in fact, Miss Brittany and I watched this documentary on meth just a little while ago because it was such a huge drug around the Midwest. We watched a documentary on it. And she had all the signs. I mean, everything about her was a meth addict. And as I walked away from that, there's a verse that hit me. It was Matthew 9:36. And I'm going to read it. I know it, but I'm going to read it just to make sure I say it right. When he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. And as that woman got onto that bus and I sat in my car and watched her get on that bus and go away, my honest thought was compassion. Not saying that so that you can go, oh, he had compassion on her. But honestly, my honest feeling was, man, I wish somebody would have gotten to that woman and told her about Christ prior to this addiction. That someone would have told her that she can be free from the bondage of her sin just by trusting in Christ. And that was what overwhelmed me, because as the end of the verse says, they were as sheep having no shepherd. Someone could have told her about Christ. Someone could have said, hey, you don't have to be addicted to these things. Hey, you don't have to have this high in your life to be filled. Christ can fulfill you. But yet no one ever did. And when the next guy who wants to, she's on the downstep of the high and isn't envisioning things and hallucinating and all those, it was a heartbreaking situation to watch that lady get on the bus and know that she was going to either buy meth or she was going somewhere she didn't even know where she was going because she was on meth. But it was heartbreaking. When you're at school today, when you're at school on Monday, this weekend, when you're hanging out with your friends, there's always going to be someone around you, maybe not a meth addict, but there's always going to be someone around you who needs your compassion, or should I say, who needs God's compassion shown out through you. There's going to be someone in the halls who's getting made fun of. There's going to be somebody who's sitting by themselves at a lunch table. There's going to be somebody who is around you who needs God's compassion shown to them. And my challenge, my, plea with you for today is look around, see who needs God's compassion, and don't just identify that need, but show God's compassion to them. Have compassion on them, because there's a lot of sheep around us who don't have a shepherd. And we need to show them the great shepherd of Jesus Christ. So look around, see who needs compassion today. Don't shy away from them, don't run away from them, but show God's compassion to them. Love you guys.